Yo, what is up guys? Today we're going to be talking about the new limited collab unit from the slime collab that you see on your screen here, Benimaru. Now this unit looks pretty sick as you just saw from his animation, but you're also going to see that his kit looks amazing as well. So looking right into his base stats here, you're going to see that he is a warrior that is of the Sagittarius zodiac, so you can start farming those catalysts for him. Also, he is of the fire element, and looking at his stats, he has pretty high attack and health and defense, which is common for warriors. But his speed is super high, which is going to be very nice because you're going to kind of want him to be decently fast. So you can actually get his skills off. Also going to notice that his critical hit chance is super high, right? He has 27% from his awakenings, and also he has an imprint concentration of critical hit chance, which, is very good because it is one of the best imprint concentrations in the game because it'll make it a lot easier to build in because critical hit chance has like the best value out of imprint concentrations besides like speed. So actually taking a glance at his skills now, his S2 is going to be his main skill. It is the skill with the animation that we saw. It is called Universal Perception. The first part of the skill is that you're going to see that he will start the first battle with 50 fighting spirit. So he does use a fighting spirit system. And at the start of an enemy's extra turn, so it can't be just a regular turn, it has to be an extra turn like a Conquer Lilius or like a Lua. You'll cleanse yourself of all debuffs and grant yourself multi-layer barrier, which is a new buff for 2 turns before also CR pushing yourself by 40%. So multi-layer barrier, guys, it is going to be an undispellable buff that will increase your hit chance by 50% and it'll basically make you immune to pretty much every debuff in the game. Hit chance is super nice. It'll allow you to hit units with evasion such as like Milim, Violet, Remnant Violet, anything with like Moonlight Dreamblade or evasion artifacts. You can kind of bypass it. And also, you're going to see that this multi-layer barrier is going to be a crucial part of his kit. Like you want this up basically as much as you can because of the fact that it'll buff pretty much all of his skills, and without this buff activating on him, it's gonna make him pretty useless. So you want to use him as a counter pick into units with extra turns, which you'll see. Now the CR push by 40% is very nice because you can actually use this to cut extra turn openers, right? Like Lua and Conculius, units that are super common like everywhere in PvP. You can actually cut them very easily because, like I said, his base speed is super high, right? If you look at his base speed, it's 119, and all you need to do is build him to like 240 speed, and with this multi-layer barrier activating with the CR push, you can actually cut Luas and Conquer Laces very easily and win the game just outright. Now, you're also going to see that this can only activate once every 2 turns, so the buff lasts for 2 turns, but it can activate once every 2 turns, and there's an effect after where if you attack when Fighting Spirit is full, you will consume all that Fighting Spirit to activate Hell Flare. Now, Hell Flare, guys, this skill is the one with the animation. This skill is super broken if this goes off, especially if you have the multi-layer barrier active, because it is an AoE attack that penetrates the target's defense by 30%. But when you have multi-layer barrier, it penetrates up to 60%. So this is going to be crazy strong. So if you guys want to know how the multi-layer barrier works here, so if we see Conquer Laces S3 go off, extra turn happens, right? If you see he's at the top, he has that attack down buff, which is applied from Conquer Laces S3. He'll actually cleanse it off with the multi-layer barrier from his S2, and also, be unable to be debuffed here. And this is very good for him, right? The attack buff he gets here is from his artifact, which we'll talk about in a bit, but this is just how the cleansing works. And you can see he actually CR pushed himself and cut now in front of every other unit on the enemy side, and even his side, right? So that's how that works. If we look at his Hell Flare, animation, guys, looks amazing first off, but the biggest thing about this skill, guys, is not the animation, although it's so cool, it's the damage. So yeah, like look at this damage. This is with vigor buff on the enemy side. Now I know this penetrates defense, but it doesn't penetrate all of it, so vigor buff is still providing benefit to the right side. But it one-shot S10A, it does 17k in one-shots Shu, albeit she did have a defense break on herself, which Benimaru can apply by himself, so it's not really like assistance from anyone else. And he does 22k to LR Crow, and Conculius almost gets half health. So super strong, as you can see, and you can see why if he actually gets it off. Like, if he gets the Hell Flare off with the multi-layer barrier, you pretty much just win the game against these extra turn teams because, yeah, like, this is no joke. This is one turn. This is what happens. Like, you are guaranteed to win. Left side is going to win for sure after this, right? Now, the problem comes, how can you actually reach that 100 Fighting Spirit? So that's where his S3 will come into play. Show no mercy. It is a skill that gives you 25 Fighting Spirits. It doesn't reach 100 yet, but it is a single target attack that will decrease defense, as you saw on the Shu previously. You'll also CR push an ally with the highest CR, except for the caster, by 15%. Now the kicker here is that when he is granted multi-layer barrier, which is from his S2, which is applied from, enemy units taking extra turn right here, as you can see, which is very, very important. Like I said, you're going to actually double the fighting spirit gain to 50. Now, if you have 50 fighting spirit from his S3 and you start with 50 fighting spirit from his S2, that's 100 fighting spirit right after one turn, and you activate Hell Flare, making it so that you can actually have this catastrophic damage applied to the enemy side happen in one turn after you cut, right? After you CR push yourself, right? Because keep in mind, his S2 does have that CR pushing effect, and if you use this against an extra turn unit, not only do you get that multi-layer barrier, but you also get that CR push. So you can kind of see, this skill is super, super strong actually, because it will actually allow him to use his S2 right away, which is his big win condition. So this skill, guys, very, very important to have that multi-layer barrier active, like I said. So you can see he's only going to really be used against extra turn units. But this skill does pretty decent damage as well. This one does not have a cool animation because of the fact, I guess it's pretty cool, but the main animation's on his S2, but this does 11k with the attack buff, right? And it'll apply that defense break. So pretty cool. The attack buff is from his artifact, so we'll talk about that in a bit. But this is his S1, guys. Move out of the way. It is a single target attack, 25 fighting spirit, and when you're granted multi-layer barrier, you'll actually do extra damage, and you can soul burn it for even more damage for only 10 souls. So pretty much everything benefits from multi-layer barrier, which can be applied to himself by having an enemy take an extra turn. So you're only going to really ever pick him into extra turn units. Otherwise, you're kind of just gimping his kit, and you won't get full benefit from his skills. Here's his S1, guys, with the soul burn. Does 17k casually through a vigor unit. So pretty strong if you can actually get that multi-layer barrier with the soul burn, and it's only 10 souls, right? So very, very cheap, and you can see this can actually clean up very easily as well. Now talking about his artifact, guys, Benimaru's Tachi. So this is going to be a warrior exclusive artifact, which means that this artifact's competing with a lot of good artifacts, right? Like Sigurd's Scythe, Draco Plate, and stuff like that. But you can see that this artifact is very, very good, especially on Benimaru, which will make sense because it is his artifact. So at the start of battle, you have a chance to grant yourself immunity. At rank 1, or I guess 1 copy, it goes up to 75%. At the max level, it'll go to 100. And you're going to see at the start of the turn when the caster does not have a debuff, you will have a chance to give yourself increased attack. So obviously, this artifact only becomes very, very good and consistent and usable if you have this maxed out, which will make it hard for newer players to actually use this. But if by chance you have this maxed out, he will be super strong with this artifact because the immunity buff will stop him from getting CC'd on turn 1. And like I said, from his S2, guys, because he has that multi-layer barrier, which will prevent him from being debuffed, he'll actually be able to get that attack buff pretty much every single turn, which will make him very strong, and which is also the reason why he did so much damage in the video preview here, because he had that attack buff from this artifact. Now, if you don't have this artifact maxed out, you can always use like Draco Plate, Sigurd's Scythe, Portrait of the Savior, Symbol of Unity, all very good on him, but this artifact definitely seems like it'll be the best on him. Now, overall for this unit, guys, like he looks super powerful, right? He's going to be available probably as this video is released. It'll be available because I'm recording this before his release during the maintenance, but this unit will be available for 2 weeks until May 25th. Definitely recommend pulling for him. He is super, super, super OP against extra turn units. He's not going to be like a unit you could fit into every team, but there are a lot of units that have extra turns built in that are super strong, right? Like Lua and Concilius. Come on, you guys see them everywhere in PvP. RTA, Guild Wars defense, arena defense, you name it, you will always see these units, and maybe he'll become a very, very meta pick because of the fact that those units that he counters are also very meta. He's a meta slayer right now, so he seems like a very good unit. Also, because of his imprint concentration being critical hit chance, very, very valuable, it'll make him a lot easier to build, and also because his artifact, you need to max this out to actually use. This is a good banner to actually not wail on, and spend your money, but to use a lot of your excess bookmarks on and try to pull for extra copies of both himself and his artifact, right? This artifact needs to be maxed to be very good, albeit you don't really need this to be maxed. You can always just use Draco Plate, like I said, or a different artifact, but having this on him would be very, very good because it looks super, super good on him and it synergizes very well. Perma attack buff, basically. And also because critical hit chance, one of the best concentrations in the game, like I said, will make him that much easier to build because looking at his kit, you're going to want him to be 240 speed, I'd say. You're also going to want him to be super, super high in attacking crit damage and obviously max crit chance, so you can actually one-shot units with his S2. And the rest, you kind of want to put into bulk so you can actually, survive a bit. But for the most part, I think, for the build, if you just put him in full damage with 240 speed, he should be good to go. And like I said, this banner you definitely want to pull on and try to get him. Now, if you guys don't have a lot of bookmarks saved up or you're new to the game, I don't really recommend pulling for dupes because of the fact that, you need to save your bookmarks for the other units, and most likely after the collab ends, we'll have, more units released, and we also have that triple limited banner and stuff like that. But for now, if you do have a lot of bookmarks and you are decently progressed into the game, very good banner to pull for dupes on, because this unit looks like a very, very good unit, especially against the meta units right now, and he looks very fun to use, and he benefits a lot from having dupes and also his artifact as well. That being said, guys, I hope this video helps you guys out, and good luck pulling for him. I'm definitely going to pull for him, definitely going to pull for dupes, and also pull for more of his artifact, and I'll show you guys in a video as well of me doing it, but hopefully you guys get lucky as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.